Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It is a great honor to welcome back Brian Pasch and Tiffany Peeler to the conference. Brian and Tiffany, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted.
Hi, Ted. Nice to see you again. I'm excited to be back.
Excited to have both of you, Tiffany.
I know.
Brian was on the conference just 2 months ago. Brian, the weather is still cold here in New Jersey.
And very warm in Boca Raton.
And I do follow your lives, so I enjoyed them and appreciate them as well with the warmer weather. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Brian's research report that is out and is available now. And part of that, Tiffany, give us some of the backstory. Why did Brooke.ai commission Brian Pasch to do this report? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think the reason that we really wanted the report to be done by a third party, and especially to be done by Brian and his team, is because we wanted it to be honest. We wanted a team that we could depend on that would go out there and learn as much as possible about all digital voice providers and help to put into words what our application has done, how it's impacted our dealers, and kind of help point out some of the differences behind what our technology is able to do versus maybe some of the other up and comers that are coming up with new digital voice assistants, and how they differ, and maybe how we stand out a little bit. And we trust Brian. He's nothing if he's not honest. And transparent, and he kind of tells people what he thinks about different vendors, what he thinks about different solutions, how they work. And so we trusted that he would kind of tell it like it was, and be honest with his readers on what they found during the research project. So that was the biggest reason.
And Brian, why do you think this topic of digital voice assistants is so top of mind right now for our industry?
I think there's probably three factors. Number one, dealers are looking for ways to be more operationally efficient. And that includes looking at their largest investment, which is their labor costs. Number two, with the great resignation or the silent resigning, I think it's harder for dealers to fill jobs in the BDC with stability, with excellence. And number three, with some of the OEMs move to consumer direct sales, customer retention, and creating a memorable experience at the local dealer level plays into dealer thinking. And what Brooke does is really nails all three of those points with operational efficiency, greater customer experience, and higher profits. This should be news to most dealers' ears.
And Brian, Tiffany mentioned that they commissioned Brian Pasch to do the study. If you'd give us a little bit of the backstory from your perspective, why did you agree to do the research on Brooke.ai specifically? As she mentioned, there are likely other providers out there. Why Brooke.ai?
Sure. So, when we do research under the BPE, Brian Pasch Enterprise Research Division, we only release a few research reports a year. They take a lot. They take months to put together. We won't do research on a product we don't believe in, even if someone's commissioning or paying for the study, number one. Number two, we do a balance of non-commissioned research and commissioned research based on the needs in the market. And when we took a look at what Brooke has been doing, and as we've talked to dealers who are like, hey, man, this is a really hot product. This is a hot product. I was like, we got to look into this. So at the Automotive CXO Network, this is a group of large dealer groups that I manage. This started to come up, digital voice assistants. So I kind of use the dealers' buzz to make sure I'm always staying up to date. And when Proactive Dealer Solutions reached out to me, it was the first time we ever talked business together, research. And it was really a great marriage. Our chief researcher, Beth Braswell, did a great job working with their team, talking to dealers, getting data and statistics. So the research report isn't fluff. It has actual dealer quotes, actual dealer data, functional descriptions of what Brooke does and what the future looks like for DVAs.
And Tiffany, the report is out. It's out now, right?
Yes, came out January 11th. It was wonderful. Brian and his team did a wonderful job. Beth is just a pleasure. And he's not lying. They were very thorough. Yeah. So we're excited for dealers to read it.
All right, Brian. So give us a little information on that. What stood out to you in the report, and what were some of the things that you folks found?
Yeah, so I think that most dealers who have maybe say more mature BDC, there is some ego there, like, hey, our BDC is doing a great job, or we're, and I think what we found out is that you only know what you know. And when dealers implement Brooke, they see a number of things that are just kind of eye-opening. Number one, the number of appointments that are being set can go up 100%, 150%, even 200%. But what it also, I think one of the big revenue opportunities, one dealer group in the report, was $533,000 of additional service revenue booked by outbound callers in their team, because what Brooke did is took those repetitive, easy, I call low-hanging fruit calls off of their BDC. And, that's a $6 million gross revenue swing for a particular product. And I think that's important. I think another highlight of the report is that there is some political or initial pushback by BDCs. Are like, hey, you're bringing in AI. Does this mean my job is going to be replaced? But the truth is that dealers know that there's not enough outbound calls being made. We know that. Lapse service, decline service, and most dealers are willing to pay more for an outbound phone call that results in service revenue than just taking an inbound layup call. So what it ends up doing is, once the BDC agents understand how Brooke works, it actually means more revenue in their pockets, which means greater stability, maybe greater longevity, a better work balance, a better scheduling balance. It's like a ripple effect. So it's not just the DVA for that, it's the impact it has on people's lives and the bottom line of the dealership.
Wow. And Tiffany, it's those outbound calls that we want to be able to free up the staff to be able to make in the retail situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something as a company that's kind of built on training and consulting and implementing successful service BDCs in stores or groups. I mean, that's something that we have pushed for 23 years. You've got to do these outbound calls, and the outbound calls, maintenance, retention, missed appointment, start the easy stuff. To Brian's point, the low hanging fruit outbound calls, campaigns, your missed appointments, your 7 to 12 month customer retention customers, your 13 to 72s, get into decline services once your team is staffed up and has the skills to do that level of a difficult type of call. So that you can really reach out to your customers and pull them back into the service drive. You're not relying it on them or that one experience from an inbound call and coming in to come back next time. And so we want more of our dealer partners to focus on those outbound call campaigns, because we know how that's how they achieve the growth that they're looking for, the retention that they're looking for, and that their OEMs are looking for as well. I mean, so many OEMs have programs that can reward the dealer in certain ways if they hit certain retention metrics. And why not take advantage of those rewards? You can't take advantage of them unless you work those campaigns. And with Brooke, our intention was always not to replace people, but to use them in a smarter way. And that's what, our application has helped us to do and helped them to do.
And Brian, something that Tiffany just mentioned earlier was the foundational piece of proactive already being in this retail business for a long time and understanding that space. Was that also, included in the findings?
Well, what I was, kind of a little bit interested in, they're process consultant, BDC, sales process coach. Their clients asked for help with BDC, became an outsourced inbound and outbound call center. And you would think building Brooke would, cannibalize their own business. It's kind of like what Apple did with the iPhone, right? You had, the music player as a standalone device and just literally blowing it up, putting it in the phone. I think what is beautiful about this story is that Proactive Dealer Solutions wasn't afraid of blowing a piece of the revenue up if they were able to create a sustainable growth pattern for their business and for the dealer. I think that's a win-win. I was very interested in that story. I was also, interested in the technology itself, how natural it was. And when we start to see 70, 80% appointment booking rates on calls handled, you're like, man, this stuff has to be really slick. And you know what? It is. And I think each year we're going to see improvements in this DVA area to also work on outbound calls and more difficult tasks. But, Tiffany didn't mention, and maybe she should, not only is Brooke taking care of basic, service booking, but when a customer is dialing in, that they do a database dip into the DMS, they can check if the vehicle has any open recalls, and they can also offer the consumer help with scheduling either a shuttle or a loaner. And these are, again, timely tasks that take some time. Well, let me have your VIN and let me look up the recall database. So really what Brooke's doing is increasing revenue opportunities. So it's not just the low-hanging fruit. I think it's increasing the net revenue opportunity per customer.
And Brian, I would think in terms of the customer experience, that also is very uplifting. The fact that I can call in and you can tell me if my vehicle has an open recall campaign just by making that call in. The dealership looks prepared, and they're ready to do business.
Yeah, in the research report, there's a lot of data and quotes from dealers. One is the fixed ops director from the Niello Corporation, and he made an amazing point, which again, sometimes you get in the weeds of life and you forget the obvious. But he was saying, hey, we realized we had to market this service to our customers. It's like, duh, I'm in the marketing business, but the more I thought about it is, look, what if you had fixed ops directors turning over? What if you were understaffed during COVID? What if in the last 2 or 3 years you've had a diminished service experience? Wouldn't it be great to go into the market, social media, OTT, saying, look, we've listened to our customers. You can book service 24/7. We'll check automatically if you have any recalls. You can automate your transportation 24/7. Just call us and talk to Brooke. I mean, think about that. How much revenue could be recouped that the marketing really goes, wow, yeah, I did have a bad experience. I was thinking of going to this other dealer, or I was thinking about going to an independent. But now that they got this, 24/7, and so I want to make sure any piece of technology that changes the customer experience needs to be marketed. Banners in the showroom, right? Reminders in the service drive. Like this. Thanks for booking with Brooke. Next time, please book again. Like this positive reinforcement, I think is so important that maybe would be missed with this very, very disruptive technology.
Yeah. I love that Brian just brings this up, because this is like a hot button for me, because it's so important. And again, I liken it to, 10 years ago when we were introducing BDCs. We had to educate the customer on why to feel comfortable booking with this person, this department. And this is the same thing. We just need to educate them. Hey, we've noticed that our hold times have gotten longer. We've had a difficult time getting to the calls. Great news. We just got this great technology. You can call, you can book your own appointment. Don't worry. If you need to speak to someone by name, if you need to be transferred for whatever reason, just tell the tool and you will be transferred straight to whoever you're looking for. And, to take it one step further, stores who are really being strategic with it, sending out a marketing email. Thank you for your visit. Like, next time you need to book, call this number, or whatever the case is, and getting the customer to funnel right back into Brooke. It can be really a tool that they can leverage in so many different creative ways. Text campaigns, put the Brooke number in there. There's so many opportunities and ways that dealers can take advantage of the technology that can really help them accomplish their goals. We just need them to communicate what that is, and we'll help them use the tool the right way.
Brian, any closing thoughts on the findings? And again, I would imagine, Brian, there's probably a lot more service calls that come into the dealership than most anything else.
Yeah, and again, the research report is rich with data. About 3 out of 4 calls are for service. Over 88% of all paid search calls from Google are for service. So, you only know what you know until Brooke exposes gaps in your service scheduling logic, your availability during peak times. And here's what I'm just going to close with. If they go to brianpasch.com, just scroll down on the homepage, they will see a research report icon for Brooke. Just click on that, and they will have the entire full color PDF emailed right to them. I would encourage them to download it, share it with their fixed ops team, with the executive team of the dealership. And then after reading the report, get some questions together, and then book a call with Proactive. The research report is so complete. I don't think there'll be lots of questions other than, the normal things is, how fast can you do it? How much does it cost? And, how long is my contract? These are the things that dealers want to know after they love a product.
Yeah.
So, Brian, our audience can get that report right now on your website at brianpasch.com. And Brian, it's the full report, not just a little piece, the whole thing.
No, the whole thing. They get the whole enchilada, and they can, share it with their 20 groups. They can contact any of the dealers that are quoted. When we do research, we ask for dealers who are willing to talk to us, and we call them. We just don't take quotes from the company we're researching. We have to do that due diligence. So I think the dealers will find the report balanced, informative, fact-based, and helpful to making a decision.
I love it. Fantastic. Tiffany, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Brian and to the whole BPE team. It's been a great experience. I hope that everyone watching will go and download the research report. Something in that report towards the end, page 19, has a list of questions that dealers should consider if they're shopping for a digital voice assistant. And I think regardless if it's our technology or something different, just go through that list, go through a couple of demos, understand how this tool, whichever tool it is, can really kind of positively impact your business. And use these questions as a baseline for you to understand, what do I need to make sure the tool I'm choosing can do? And listen to some calls, because it can truly, change the game for the service department.
I think so. We'll leave it there. Brian Pasch and Tiffany Peeler, thank you so much for your time today. And I'm going to go check out the report right now. I love it. Everybody, Brian Pasch and Tiffany Peeler here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.